Welcome to Season 2 of the Shekina Meditation Podcast, created by community members and friends of Shekina Garden in Pai, Thailand. Shekina communities are dedicated to creating free devotional spaces of Christian practice for spiritual seekers and travelers around the world. We post Christ-centered guided meditation each week to help you in your personal or small group practice. You can find episode show notes and other information at shekinacommunity.com.
Hello everyone, it's Ro, and I'm sitting here with Ray, my friend. This is Season 2, Episode 21 of our podcast. So as always, our beloved patrons are supporting this podcast. Thank you so much. We're always raising money to keep our community running, and our patronage is part of the way that we do that in a regular way.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We appreciate it a lot. If you'd be interested in joining that amazing group of people, you could find us over at patreon.com/Shekina Meditation Podcast. And you could support us there for $1 or more per month.
Another way that you can support us is by following us on Instagram, on our new Instagram page, and sharing our podcast posts in our feed, or you could rate or review us on iTunes, which really helps people to find us, or you could just tell a friend. Yeah, however you like. We would love it if you can share the news about the podcast.
Yeah, we appreciate it. All those little bits add up and helps more people be able to enjoy the podcast. And yeah, if some of those people then become patrons, that helps us as well. It's great.
Yeah, and it really supports our community and what we do here in northern Thailand.
Thank you.
Thank you. So today's meditation is Lectio Divina on Psalm 36, verses 5 to 9 with Ro. And for the first part of the meditation, she's going to offer some ways for you to enter into a place that's a bit more quiet, guiding you through some body exercises, breath exercises in order to come to stillness. And for the second, she has some readings of the verses with a lot of space and silence, a few guiding questions, and just a lot of opportunity to really go deep.
And after that part of the meditation, we always recommend a little bit of processing time. So if you're sitting by yourself, that might be some journaling or just a couple of thoughts recorded on your voice recorder on your phone. Or maybe you take a short walk and just talk to yourself as you walk. I like doing that. You can always put your headphones in and pretend you're talking to someone on the phone.
Oh, that's true. That's a good...
Clever.
You heard it first here.
Or if you're sitting with a group or another person and meditating together, it's a really great idea to have a sharing circle or a talking circle. So we would pass around an object like a beautiful stick or a stone and just let each person share without interruption, and just everyone giving that person an opportunity to be heard and an opportunity to just process and share a little bit of their experience, whatever it might have been. We find that a really deep time just to hear how different people have interacted with the same text can be really cool.
Yeah.
And how the divine speaks to all of us in different ways. It's beautiful to hear.
So true.
Let's begin. Well, good morning. Welcome to Shekina Garden for meditation this morning. Lovely to have each of you here. This morning's meditation is going to be a Lectio Divina style meditation on Psalm 36, verses 5 through 9. That's from the book of Psalms, which is a book of songs right in the middle of the Bible. We'll spend some time just preparing our bodies and our minds into stillness and listening space. And then I will be reading through these verses a few times with some space and a few questions, and just a simple time to let our minds explore and our hearts explore what the words say, and to be listening for what the divine might be speaking to us. And then we will have a sharing circle at the end, the opportunity to share if we wish to. So to begin, let's find ourselves a good, strong position. We don't have to stay still for the whole meditation, but to start with, let's just find a moment of stillness. We might like to lift ourselves up nice and tall, or nice and long in our spine. Maybe even just taking a few nice deep breaths just to let ourselves arrive in this moment. Letting our eyes close gently if that feels good. Maybe taking any little wriggles or stretches to settle our body down into stillness. And as we slowly find stillness in our body for a few moments, let's let our attention come to our breath. Not needing to change how our breath is coming in and out of our body, but just noticing it, noticing our natural breath. Noticing the sensation of movement. What parts of our body do we feel moving as we breathe? Noticing the sensation of temperature in our nostrils, the feeling of the rush of air coming in and then coming out, perhaps noticing a little warmer. Noticing the sensation in that exhale of the feeling of air as it comes out the nose, perhaps hitting the upper lip or just under the nose. Noticing that little spot right there, feeling that sensation, subtle as it is. Noticing perhaps the rhythm of the breath. How there's an inhale, an exhale, then a little pause or moment at the bottom of the breath before the inhale again. Spending a few rounds of breath just noticing this rhythm. Perhaps imagining the path of your breath. What actually is happening in the body as we breathe. The air rushing in, down the windpipe, into the lungs expanding, the blood being oxygenated by the breath, the pumping of the heart, bringing that oxygenated blood all around the body, to the extremities, to the organs. Then the exhale, what the body doesn't need, being taken out on the exhale, being released out into the world. This whole system, this whole cycle happening on each inhale and each exhale. And this cycle connecting us to the trees and the vegetation around us. The oxygen being gifted to us from the vegetation. Us gifting them what they need, them gifting us what we need. This beautiful connection that we have with our surroundings as we breathe. As we notice this breath, as we focus on our breath, as our body is still, calming down. Let's turn our attention inward to notice what's happening in our thoughts this morning. Whatever we're noticing, just being kind to ourselves as we notice. And just acknowledging, observing what's happening in our minds. One way to imagine this observation is perhaps imagining that you're a small bird in a tree looking down onto a little river or a creek, and that your thoughts are the creek and the water going by. You can notice all different sorts of thoughts, perhaps worries or concerns, lists of things to do or things that we have done, memories, big things and small things. We can just see them floating by. We can notice them Acknowledge them and then let them float by out of sight. It's possible that they might come back into view again. That's okay. Noticing them again. Perhaps acknowledging, oh, there you are again. And then letting that thought float away. If you're imagining being a bird, you might like to fly up a little higher into the tree so that the creek is not quite as much in your view, perhaps a little obscured by leaves. You can still see the thoughts, but perhaps you can feel some distance from them. Perhaps they're not concerning you or distracting you quite so much. It's okay and natural for our minds to be distracted, to come back to these thoughts. A big part of the practice of meditation is just learning to redirect our thoughts. Let those thoughts that are distracting us float by again purposefully. Perhaps you might like to fly right up to the very top of the tree, above the canopy, so that the stream is far below you, and that above you, you can look up and just see a clear sky. If this is an image that works for you, during the meditation, if you find yourself distracted, you can come back to this place of letting the thoughts float away and just looking up into a clear sky. We're going to move to the second movement of our meditation now, the reading of scripture. We might like to take some physical posture, perhaps just turning our palms upward as a symbol of receiving, or some other posture that feels right for you that indicates I'm listening, indicates our acknowledgement of the divine presence with us. Perhaps reminding ourselves, our bodies, that we're listening, that we're open. Something might be said from these words of scripture that is just for us this morning. Perhaps for you this is also just a symbol of welcome to the divine. The divine welcomes us to this space, and we welcome the divine to speak to us. For the first reading, I'll just read straight through this short passage, perhaps just allowing the words to wash over us for this first reading. Perhaps looking for a word or a phrase that stands out to us above the rest. Perhaps asking the divine to speak to us, to draw our attention to something special. From Psalm 36. Your unfailing love, O Lord, is as vast as the heavens. Your faithfulness reaches beyond the clouds. Your righteousness is like the mighty mountains. Your justice like the ocean depths. You care for people and animals alike, O Lord. How precious is your unfailing love, O God. All humanity finds shelter in the shadow of your wings. You feed them from the abundance of your own house, letting them drink from your river of delights. For you are the fountain of life, the light by which we see. For the second reading, Read each section twice and leave a few minutes of silence afterward. You might like to again ask the Divine to speak through these words to you. Perhaps again looking for a phrase that stands out. Perhaps allowing childlike play with these words in your mind this morning. Looking for images that are interesting or memories that come to mind. Letting our minds explore these words in whatever way comes up for us. Your unfailing love, O Lord, is as vast as the heavens. Your faithfulness reaches beyond the clouds. Your unfailing love, O Lord, is as vast as the heavens. Your faithfulness reaches beyond the clouds. Your righteousness is like the mighty mountains, your justice like the ocean depths. Your righteousness is like the mighty mountains, your justice like the ocean depths. You care for people and animals alike, O Lord. You care for people and animals alike, O Lord. How precious is your unfailing love, O God. All humanity finds shelter in the shadow of your wings. How precious is your unfailing love, O God. All humanity finds shelter in the shadow of your wings. You feed them from the abundance of your own house, letting them drink from your river of delights. You feed them from the abundance of your own house, letting them drink from your river of delights. For you are the fountain of life, the light by which we see. For you are the fountain of life, the light by which we see. For this third reading, perhaps again listening for anything that might stand out for us from the text. And perhaps also using this time to respond back to the divine from these words. Is there any response that we wish to make as we listen during this reading? Perhaps offering whatever our response might be back to the divine. It might be a number of different things. It might be a bit messy. Whatever it is welcome, is listened to by the divine and is welcomed. Your unfailing love, O Lord, is as vast as the heavens. Your faithfulness reaches beyond the clouds. Your righteousness is like the mighty mountains. Your justice like the ocean depths. You care for people and animals alike, O Lord. How precious is your unfailing love, O God. All humanity finds shelter in the shadow of your wings. You feed them from the abundance of your own house, letting them drink from your river of delights.
For you are the fountain of life, the light by which we see. For this fourth and final reading, perhaps just letting the words wash over us once more. Perhaps again listening for a special word or phrase or image. And perhaps taking a moment to find something that you wish to take with you into the rest of the day. Something to remind yourself of, something to remember this experience by, this meditation by. Your unfailing love, O Lord, is as vast as the heavens. Your faithfulness reaches beyond the clouds. Your righteousness is like the mighty mountains. Your justice like the ocean depths. You care for people and animals alike, O Lord. How precious is your unfailing love, O God. All humanity finds shelter in the shadow of your wings. You feed them from the abundance of your own house, letting them drink from your river of delights. For you are the fountain of life, the light by which we see. Slowly bringing ourselves now out of this meditative space, becoming aware again of the presence of others sitting with us, taking our time to return. And when we're ready, we'll share in a talking circle together. We'll know we're ready when everyone is seated and with their eyes open.
Thank you for joining today. There will be a new guided meditation available each week, so don't forget to subscribe to iTunes or sign up for our newsletter to get podcasts delivered to your inbox at www.shekinacommunity.com/podcast newsletter. Also, you can rate or review on iTunes or sign up as a patron at patreon.com/Shekina Meditation Podcast. Have a beautiful week. Many blessings to you.